a few seconds for the stream to kick in. Gonna go ahead and check and make sure that that is live up on our channel right now. Welcome
For
everybody
sure,
to our
for
AMA.
sure. Welcome in, guys. Might just fix up my lighting a little bit here. Be right back.
Yeah, take your time. We're just getting started, and for anybody who has any questions for Titanium Finance, please get into the chat, and we'll be looking for those questions throughout the AMA and be talking about some of the amazing things that we have planned for Titanium Finance and for Base and for the agency. A lot of really interesting partnerships, integrations, alpha that we're going to be sharing on this call, and just kind of giving an overview of the roadmap of where things are going to go from here. Oh, let me see. Did we lose your audio? Is that?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, there we go. Now I can hear
Perfect. Perfect. Just gonna post this out into the Telegram.
Yeah, I'm just getting this added to our Signals portal as well, so we'll have that boosted.
Perfect.
But yeah, speaking of our Signals portal, that's the portal where everybody, if you were part of the whitelist for the Titanium Finance launch, then you likely saw our Signals portal, and that's where you could get points for liking and retweeting and holding different tokens. And those points translated into ownership of the Titanium Cube NFT, which was the whitelist access pass, and then is also part of a lot of other kind of integrations and the roadmap for Titanium and the hedge fund coming up. So we'll get into more details on that. But right now, I'm just adding a quick task on here for us to add to. So let me see. But yeah, Josh, in terms of like how the launch went, how are you feeling? Like, I know that we both just kind of woke up after like a marathon, like 24-hour like period of like being up and like plugged in and just like getting the launch all perfect.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. No, it went really surprisingly really smooth. I mean, I've never been a part of a launch where everything just comes together so smoothly and perfectly. Like honestly, like yeah, it was really really great. It was really great. Yeah, I was I was up for 30 hours, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. I think a lot of people on our team were also up for about that amount of time. It feels about right. Because yeah, like it's whenever a launch happens, maybe for those who are watching, you're not aware, but there's just a lot of technical stuff that needs to happen to make sure that everything is just really taken care of. We have to fight off the snipers. We have to make sure the whitelist is including everybody that it needs to include. We have to make sure that we're deploying that smart contract and getting it out there with, all of the protections that it needs to do well. And yeah, we're really happy with, everything that we're able to do for the chart and for, the community, the token launch. It just feels like this one is a really kind of a win, like a perfect win here for everybody involved. So really happy to see that, everyone who is involved in the whitelist phase, is looking at a pretty decent return on just having been part of it from the very beginning. And I feel like, even now with everything that's happening, we're still floating around 1 million market cap. And I think that's like super bullish. Like we have so much growth that is possible here, and it's just getting started. So really excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when you look at our product launch, which we'll get into, this is when things really start. I think there's enough people in here that we can start diving into things. What do you think?
Yeah, we've got some good questions here. I see Ate in here. What's up, Ate? How you doing? I see
Tech,
Zane.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, some good questions on when is USDC earning on titanium. That's a good one we can maybe start with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So the hedge fund is projected to launch within the next week. And the way that the hedge fund will work is that we will incentivize deposits into the hedge fund uh, with a allocation of TI tokens to build up the AUM, the assets under management in the hedge fund, and the way that the hedge fund itself works is that participants or clients deposit USDC into bonds. And the way that bonds work is that they fluctuate with the price of the with the total AUM of the fund. So that's how it works. And then when you're in the hedge fund, you'll be holding your bonds and you'll be paid in USDC your yield on a biweekly basis. So that's our first product. It's a it's a sort of separate product from the actual token. So the token itself, you're not receiving USDC airdrops. But the way that the token works is it accrues value from the actual hedge fund itself. And I'll explain the flywheel. I know it's sort of a buzzword. Flywheel is sort of a buzzword, but we really do believe we've got an actual flywheel. Um, so this is how it works. With the AUM, the assets under management of the hedge fund, 10% of the total assets under management is always used to buy up the TI token. And the way this works is that we can look at it with some example numbers with $1 million worth of assets under management in the hedge fund, which is extremely low for a hedge fund itself. That means that 10% of that, $100,000, would directly be allocated into direct TI buybacks or TI investment. And the way that this functions for the hedge fund holders is that the TI buybacks function as an investment itself in the hedge fund. So this is a position that the hedge fund is holding. Um, and you can see as the assets under management grows in the hedge fund, these buybacks start accruing and accruing. You can imagine with a $10 million assets under management, which like in all honesty and in all like industry standards is still extremely low. That $1 million of hard assets directly used to buy back the TI token. So the ratio is like absolutely next level compared to any sort of fee buyback system, any sort of fee system in general that is used to buy back the token is incomparable to this in terms of the actual ratio of allocation to the buybacks itself. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, in terms of like what other projects that do kind of token buybacks do, like I mean, on average, we're seeing like buybacks in the thousands, right? Like we're seeing buybacks usually in the thousands, but like we're talking on average for these ones being much higher, probably.
Exactly, exactly. And the what I would say about fee buyback systems, we do use fees as well because there are fees in the hedge fund itself. But what is so much better than this is fees are such a tiny percentage of a protocol's TVL or AUM. So the way that so you can imagine like a a, a DeFi protocol with $100 million of TVL. Maybe it would only have a tiny ratio of fees. Like some of these protocols have these huge TVLs, but their feedback buyback system is tiny. Um, and what's so different about the titanium flywheel is the ratio, which is like high like the highest ratio in the industry at the moment.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I think the another interesting question that was brought up is the tokenomics of TI. Do we want to get into that as well and talk about, with the ratio of tokenomics and like how that's going to be working as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we sold 65% during the public sale. We have, I'll just bring up the tokenomics here to ensure I get the exact numbers correct. Um, yes. So we have 65% was sold during the sale at a $230,000 valuation. We have 10% for marketing and growth, 10% for team, 10% for liquidity provision, and 5% for advisory. So that's kind of our overall tokenomics. So you can sort of look at that as a 75% circulating supply, with 25% sort of being held off to the side by the team, to be held on a very long term basis. For example, the team tokens are vested on a 6-month cliff, with 12 months linear vesting. So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I think that's something that in terms of uh I think we have a question as well about is it possible to set up automated buyback? Is that something that we want to cover here?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely will go into how the buybacks are done. It's definitely not like we take the capital, the raised capital that we have for that biweekly period in the hedge fund and just buy it back with one huge candle. What we do is we seed that through a market maker and um buy back buy back continuously to create extreme buy pressure on the chart. That's sort of how that's going to function. Yeah.
We have another question of how many percent of the total allocation will be incentivized?
Yeah, so that's part of our marketing and growth. What we're planning is about 1% will be incentivized for very early depositors into the hedge fund, just to get that flywheel started and reward people who deposit early in the hedge fund. Um, yeah, that's our plan in that regard.
I think that's a pretty good plan to reward that. Um, and then you mentioned that we are going to be doing buybacks that's going to be done through uh, like HL or Athena is the question.
Yeah. So Hyperliquid and Athena are actually a really good comparison to how our system works. So Athena in general has, I believe, at the moment, a $7 billion total supply in there between both of their stable coins. And you can see yeah, I really want to emphasize the ratio of the fee buybacks. So Athena only activated their fee switch recently, um, and started buying back. But for example, if Titanium held a $7 billion AUM, that would be $700 million of hard assets in buybacks, and I can guarantee Athena didn't do that much. They're a different protocol, much sort of lower risk protocol, or classic protocol. Um, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just a comparison um, between the flywheels there.
That's okay. Very interesting. And yeah, I love that there's a lot of really kind of dense information here, guys. So like if there's any questions that you have on, how all this is working, please feel free to call out in the chat. And yeah, I think we've had a lot of really great questions so far. Another one down here from Zane is, how is it based on deposit size? For example, if I deposit 1K or 5K, what's the difference in the rewards? Actually, let me see if I can bring this up on the screen here. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, so it's based on percentages, right? So if you deposit 1K and the return for that biweekly period is, let's say, 1%, you will then of course earn $10, right? That's sort of how that works. If my math is correct, yeah, you will earn $10 from a 1% yield, but with 5K, you'll earn $50. So it's always in line with your deposit amount, or how much you're holding in the bond program, um compared to the percentage of yield for that biweekly period.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question there, Zane. Thanks for bringing that one up. We've got another one here from Doms. Shout out to Doms. Hey man, how you doing? Fantastic launch. What are the marketing plans to get this out there and accrue AUM, since this flywheel depends heavily on AUM growing? And that's one that we can definitely cover together, Josh, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Do you wanna get into that a little bit?
Yeah.
Start that off,
Yeah,
because
so I mean, like one of the accounts that we're going live on right now is the Create on Base account and the Based creators, and the global chapter. Titanium Finance is going to be running the Based Creators Australia region and also the Based Creator Singapore region to start with, and that's going to help to bring in creators around Australia and Singapore, and also focusing on developing the financial education portal aspect of the Based creators that we're going to be kind of working on together with Titanium Finance. It's going to be branded as a Titanium Finance sponsored and created financial portal that is going to offer free kind of financial education courses, kind of like how to get a wallet, how to set up your crypto account, how to buy a token, how to basically the 101 of crypto, but then also the 101 of finances and like investing and whatever we can offer in the free plan, which is really kind of set up as kind of like a marketing funnel for them to go and learn more. And we've got the more advanced courses that are going to be behind the Titanium Finance. Like if you own the Cube, for example, like the Titanium Finance Cube, you'll have kind of upgraded access to these courses. But it's really going to be a way to kind of bring people in and get them incentivized to start caring about their finances. And then Josh can talk more about kind of like a lot of the ideas that we have for bringing people in and like growing the AUM and kind of using the full power of the agency, which we can kind of talk more at length about.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, so a big part of this as well is our content that we're looking to start. Essentially, the idea of it is to create valuable content around financial education, around crypto basics, and post this out there onto YouTube, onto short form content, um, and have this as a funnel to our financial education platform, which then introduces these members to the wider Titanium ecosystem. So that's sort of how it works, and the way that content works in general is the internet is just run on content. At this point, it's almost free to produce. It's continually accruing. We continually build an audience, and it's a much better system than quote unquote just throwing out. Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
Sorry, I just got a call from my co-founder. Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, content is free to produce. It's ever accruing, and it's not such a huge cost on the project to continually allocate a massive marketing budget. We will of course be doing the classic things like paid meta ads, paid KOL promotion, but we're really looking at that content as our main form of promotion, as well as the referral system in the hedge fund, which, yeah, it's all about that organic growth and creating something that continually accrues value and continually builds its presence, rather than endless spend of project funds on the uh yeah, just an endless cost to the project with an unclear return on investment.
Yeah, so we're setting up like some really great incentive programs and like ways for creators across space to kind of participate in all the content education portal, like the content creation and really just like if they're bringing in people to Titanium Finance and to other partners that we're partnered with through Base Creators Network and through the agency network, like we're going to be able to offer really create to earn opportunities for them based on, how many people that they're bringing in and, like really it's kind of an ability for creators across the network to step up and to have earning and career opportunities of their own of, that they create. And, that's part of the benefit of having a decentralized agency, behind all of the Base Creators chapters where, all of the IPs and brands are launching on Base and that are, wanting to get, education out to the world on like how to, learn more about your finances or how to use various different products on Base. With Titanium Finance being one of the first to kind of like make a major investment into the Based creators, into the chapters organization and helping to kind of spearhead the Australia chapter and the Singapore chapter. It's really going to be helping to have creators find more of these opportunities to create content, to bring people on board, to bring people into the new on-chain economy, and for Titanium to be kind of seen as the face of that at the same time. So we're accomplishing ecosystem goals of onboarding people, and we're also helping to grow the AUM of Titanium Finance at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that's something that me and Ryan have been cooking up for a very long time now. So we're very excited to roll that all out. In terms of timeline on that, that will be um directly after the hedge fund launch, to begin growing that assets under management there. It's all about a funnel that is continually able to grow and continually able to be of value to us.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have a lot of really interesting things that we can kind of talk about too with partnerships and integrations across the agency network. We're going to be using, for example, Fireside to go live from universities all around the world, to incentivize lectures. That professors or students or student teachers can start up to teach about financial education. And through the Fireside app, we'll actually be able to track like who is creating firesides about Titanium Finance and tagging Titanium Finance and creating that content. And by tracking that, we'll be able to add points in the Titanium Finance portal and the Fireside portal at the same time. And that kind of alignment allows like ecosystem rewards to be distributed, and for us to track who is really, being the most dedicated to helping to onboard users through these specific channels. So if you have, a financial background already, if you're already maybe interested in like, becoming a teacher and, becoming part of the Titanium education portal, like then it really is like a permissionless way for you to step up and start becoming, a teacher of, finance,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The real life events are a huge part of this. On Titanium's side, we'll be moving across all of Australia, um, and going to the universities in Australia to essentially do a basic financial education, a basic crypto education, um or in these real life events across Australia. And real life events are so important because there's so much more. The internet is the internet at the end of the day, and when you're able to meet someone in real life and speak to them and shake their hands, it's much more powerful than a relationship on the internet sometimes. So yeah, that's our goal behind that. And this is all built to funnel and introduce new clients and new members into the Titanium ecosystem, and just create this ever growing funnel.
Yeah, absolutely. The question from Zane was, why did you build on base? And like, I think it's going to be a similar answer to mine. I'll let you go first, Josh.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. First of all, like the base community has 100% hands down been the most supportive community that I've ever been a part of, in across all of crypto. I've been around Solana, I've been around ETH mainnet, and yeah, base is a complete different level just in terms of the raw community, and the people here. I mean, if you look at our previous expos, you'll see see all the partnerships that we've able to make, and the relationships been able to come across in base over such a short period of time. And yeah, it's been second to none. On top of that, the it's all about the long term likelihood that base stays as a prominent chain and a prominent brand on in the crypto industry. And I mean, it's Coinbase. Like Coinbase is the largest centralized exchange in terms of assets under management. Um, so it's a no brainer for us personally in terms of that aspect as well. Um, volume's good, everything's good. Yeah, that basically runs down our choices around base.
Yeah, I think to top that off, like, in terms of like from our side, building from, the creators, based creators, and now the agency, it really is just a culture of building together. It's a culture of creating things that are, of value, that are of like, real value, that people are putting in, their long-term time and effort into, something that it feels very real. So I think that the recent ICM narrative over on like Solana and other chains recently was kind of being piloted by a few brands and notable people here on base. I think one of the first was District with Michael Ma. Shout out to Michael, and the whole District community of founders and kind of ecosystem leaders. I think there's a real narrative surrounding supporting products that are going to be building the next on-chain internet and the new kind of economy that Ethereum has been building now for several years, and that Bitcoin has been building for even longer. And I think that there is a kind of come to Jesus moment in the the market as a whole, that's going to be happening very soon. And I think one of the reasons why we're building on Base and on Coinbase is because we see them as being the ones that are going to kind of either cause that moment or be the ones that come through that moment in the strongest way, because there is going to be a kind of .com boom and bust of this cycle. We feel that this is approaching very soon, that the adoption of the technology is reaching such an inflection point that there will be clear winners and losers very soon. And I think Coinbase is already so well positioned. Like, it is one of the best positioned of all institutions, and Base being, its kind of chain of choice, and also Farcaster network, I think, is very slept on, as a way for a permissionless social layer, um, even with the recent FUD around their pivot to being a wallet, or whatever their client has pivoted to. The network itself is still a social network, and it's still fully permissionless for anyone to set up a client of their own if they maybe don't like the wallet focused client that they're pivoting to over at Merkle. But I think I really do like the future of like a fully permissionless social finance network that you can participate in and learn about and become part of, like through any local neighborhood chapter, which like you can just walk into and start learning about. And I think that's like the final mile for a lot of people of this new on-chain economy that like we're looking to solve with the agency and with the based creators, and just getting into all the cities and universities of the world that have developing economies or kind of off-chain economies, and bringing those economies on chain, as a city, as a university, teaching the next generation and showing um, the governments and cities of the world, like what can be done if you kind of convert to a fully on-chain populace, which it's really just a new form of the economy that is just a better form of our old economy, and there's just a one for one translation for so many things that it's just they're just upgrades. That's all it is.
100%, 100%. Yeah, I mean that's like the bottom line thesis of the Bitcoin white paper or anything like that. So yeah, yeah, we're huge believers in that original thesis and that sort of a decentralized structure in any way. Even the district platform that we launched through has different voting powers for token holders. Um, so yeah, built into it. So yeah, it really is amazing that finance can be controlled not by one entity. That's over the internet. That is incredible. And yeah, it doesn't like there is endless use cases. People say that there's no use cases for crypto, but I mean there's been a million already. Um, uh, just no one is looking hard enough, and no one is willing from the normie perspective. No one is sometimes there's a connotation around crypto where they don't want to adopt it because crypto is involved. So yeah, our mission is to change that as well. Um, but yeah, I would like to get into a few of our further products, because this is actually a good question from Zane. Um, and what I want to get into is first our tailored opportunities product, and second of all our TIUSD stablecoin. Um, so tailored opportunities is released post our multi-strategy investment fund, which is our first product. And the way that tailored opportunities works is it's more like a traditional finance setup in terms of you have a meeting with a member of our team. um, you discuss your investment goals and your investment risk level, and we create a custom fund for the client specifically. And then from that point onwards, we have either a weekly call, a bi-weekly call, um, to discuss the investment's performance, to discuss the investments risks, and discuss with the client um, their decisions and what they would like us to do. And it's just a much more personable structure than our initial product, the multi-strategy investment fund, which is simply just deposit and earn. The tailored opportunities is a much more and it gives that confidence per investor that we see them, we understand exactly what they need, exactly what type of yield they're trying to hit, and we completely manage that for them. So that's something I'm really excited about. Sort of almost this, like I mentioned, like this traditional finance advisory structure, but done uh done sort of promoted and sort of marketed to crypto retail and crypto native people. Yeah, so that's a product for after our multi-strategy investment fund. And then what I want to also get into is the TIUSD stablecoin. So the TIUSD stablecoin is quite interesting, and it has quite a few components to it. Um, And once you guys understand it, I know 100% you will love it. It uses a similar structure to the Resolve protocol. So the way that it works is we'll first get into how it seeks yield. So how it seeks yield is it's sort of like a layer on top of DeFi. It seeks the the best low risk yield, and it seeks the best the most risk free yield on the market, or low risk yield on the market, with a target APY of 20% for the stablecoin, 20% per year. So the way that it does this is, at any given time during DeFi, there is usually an opportunity of 15 to 20% APY on stable coins, if you look hard enough. But it's ever moving. It's ever moving. It's from different protocol to different protocol. There's different risk levels. So the way that this TIUSD works is that it's, like I mentioned, a layer on top of all of this, where it's just an actively managed treasury, and we move it to the the um the most advantageous place in the market. So the second part to this is the tokenized risk model. So this is the second part to the stablecoin, where users can actually deposit into a capital pool of the tokenized risk of the TIUSD stablecoin. And the way that this works is, this is a layer of capital that is protecting the stablecoin itself, and protecting its strategies. So if the strategy, or if the protocols we're invested in, take a small loss, or take a loss, the the tokenized risk capital pool takes on that loss. And if that happens, they lose a few percent, but the TIUSD stablecoin stays completely untouched. And for providing this capital pool of um of tokenized risk, and for providing this protection layer, these users who are staked in the tokenized risk pool are earning a higher yield than the TIUSD stablecoin, in return for taking on that risk for the TIUSD stablecoin depositors. So it creates like this outsized yield opportunity, where more there's a higher APY in the tokenized risk pool at all times than the TIUSD stablecoin. So yeah, that's for the more risk on users, is the tokenized risk pool. For someone who just wants to set and forget, they stake directly in the TIUSD stablecoin.
Awesome, really great info here. I think we have some, maybe another question about partnerships and Catalyst incoming that we're able to talk about. Is that something that we want to reveal anything, or is that kind of going to be under the wraps for now, do you think?
Yeah, in terms of partnerships, we want to have those catalysts hit as they come out. So we don't want to mention anything now, or tease anything now. But it's absolutely a big priority. I mean, Ryan and the agency are very, very well connected, and very I mean, yeah. If you look at all our partnerships that we had in the lead up to this launch, we had the Miggles team, we had Rift, we had Create on Base. So yeah, and it's just, and Nemesis, and we just accruing more and more as we build these relationships. throughout Base. So yeah.
Yeah, and shout out to the District Network and to
Hmm.
all of our friends at Base and Coinbase and yeah, like we're definitely just looking to support the ecosystem in terms of like what we see needs to be happening in terms of filling gaps for the products themselves and then filling the gaps in the ecosystem with the products that need to be, positioned where they need to be positioned. So that's like really the agency as a decentralized agency is just kind of a tool for kind of making that happen and kind of just an integration and networking engine for the new on-chain economy and the new creator economy. So we're going to be cooking a lot of integrations and partnerships, and I think you're going to see a lot of stuff coming down the line, on our calendar. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hmm. Trying to think. What do you think, Ryan? I think I do want to get more into what's to come in a very short-term basis, in a week, in a weekly base, like in terms of less than a week from now. So our 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 goal and our roadmap is to release the multi-strategy investment fund, the hedge fund, have its launch within less than a week from now, and really get that flywheel started and start incentivizing those deposits. So yeah, I did want to mention that that's our big focus at the moment, and then post that it's the creation of the content and the growth of the AUM in the multi-strategy investment fund, and then it's the release of our further products that I was mentioning. So yeah.
Yeah, some good goals here, and I think we're gonna be also cooking on the Titanium Finance portal. The one that was used for the whitelist is gonna be transformed into the education portal, and a lot of other aspects of kind of, interacting with the brand are gonna be coming through that portal. So, that's kind of one of the advantages of, the Signals portal that we make at the agency. If you're creating a custom branded one, the way that we did for Titanium Finance, that it can really become its own product at that point. It can be developed into whatever it needs to become after it's served the purpose of tracking and rewarding the users who are here from the very beginning. It can then continue to track and reward users who are, engaging with the brand, interacting with the brand, and then becoming part of the core purpose and mission. So it's going to become the education portal, and as well as like a kind of dashboard for interfacing with the hedge fund and seeing what kind of things you can do financially with Titanium Finance as well. So yeah, the cube itself has a lot of interactive capabilities where if you kind of open up the cube in your wallet, you'll also be able to have some evolving and updating access to the different products that we're releasing, and that's kind of coming down the line as well in the next few weeks and months. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. I definitely want to get a little bit into the NFT, and then I will jump out of here. Um, so in terms of the NFT, um, it was a big part. It was a big part of our pre-TGE campaign, in terms of the whitelist and granting the whitelist. But it's really important to note the initial thread we made on the NFT, which mentions all the benefits that it has. So I want to mention that one of the benefits it has is direct airdrops from fees in the hedge fund. So so as I mentioned before, like at the start of this AMA, 10% of the AUM is used for the token. We still have fees in the hedge fund So a portion of those are going directly towards NFT holders. And it's not only that for the NFT. We have a ton more down the line in terms of premium access to our financial education content. And yeah, the NFT is sort of like the top ecosystem holders should all have an NFT, because um we we're doing the opposite of forgetting about it, or throwing it off to the side. It's an integral part of our overall protocol when the protocol launches. So yeah.
Yeah, and also to not to mention, there's going to be in-person events, some VIP opportunities that will be enabling for Titanium Cube holders, as well as the 444 agency holders. These are kind of people who will be invited into any kind of financial related alpha events that we might have, any kind of VIP networking events that we might have. We'll make sure that those holders are invited, and because networking opportunities are among the most important things to have in financial education and kind of coming up in the financial world. Just knowing people, learning from people, getting one-to-ones with people, and we kind of help to facilitate and to get those one-to-ones and to get people introduced to people, and that's kind of like what we do at the agency. So really looking forward to those in-person events, and also growing the reach of the Titanium Finance education system in different universities around the world. So yeah, I think we're actually going to be pretty much wrapping up here. So if anybody has any final parting thoughts, in the comments thread, we're going to be kind of wrapping up in the next 2 minutes, but I'll let Josh kind of take it away here.
Yeah. I just want to say, thank you guys for all the support around our launch, the holders, and our pre TGE. Everything went really, really smooth, like I mentioned at the start of the AMA. So yeah, we're here to build. We're ready to go. With this has been in the works for 8 months at this point. So yeah, it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be a good time. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm just excited for, as a former GameStop investor and member of the GameStop community, I'm just excited to see a hedge fund joining us, so to speak, uh,
Yeah,
for a new financial education, a new financial world, and a new on-chain economy. So really looking forward to what we're going to build together.
absolutely. Yeah, we'll wrap up here. Thanks for coming along, guys. We're going to be doing these AMAs bi-weekly, um, and maybe not always with Ryan. Ryan's a busy man, but definitely in terms of the Titanium community, we'll 100% be doing bi-weekly AMAs. So that is a big part of what we believe in with the project is constant communication and information for holders. So yeah.
And I'll always be available, by the way, for the biweekly if needed. Like,
Okay.
yeah, like
Okay.
believe very heavily in titanium, so I'm always here for titanium and to grow it. So absolutely, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. All
All right.
right. All right.
Well,
Thanks,
thanks.
guys.
Yeah, thanks everybody for attending. And we're gonna wrap up. Have a good rest of your week, everybody. And yeah, looking forward to the titanium finance flywheel kicking in with some of the products launching very soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, guys. Yeah. How do you end the stream?